Hello, I'm David Chaston with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This week, get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock, with news of an embarrassing stalemate in Australia. But first, it is a public holiday weekend in the US, their 4th of July holiday weekend, and Americans are expected to travel in record numbers. It's aided by low petrol prices and encouraged by growing optimism about their prospects. But their influential markets will be closed until Wednesday our time. On Friday our time, US Treasuries dipped to historic lows as bond investors made strong gains. At one point, the benchmark 10-year Treasury hit 1.4% and below the previous low in July 2012. That's before it rose and closed just at 1.45% as they broke for the holiday. Fear about the European situation is the root cause. And equity investors also ended the week on Wall Street up strongly. The S&P 500 was up just below the all-time record high that was reached this time last year. Globally, the manufacturing sector stagnated in June, neither contracting nor expanding. Only a handful of countries registered a solid improvement in operating performance in June, most of which were in the euro area. The US recorded good expansion, along with Russia, Mexico, India, Taiwan, South Korea, Indonesia and Vietnam. The two largest Asian manufacturing nations, China and Japan, both reported contractions in June. Operating conditions also deteriorated in France, Brazil, Malaysia and Turkey. China said its large SOE manufacturing sector also treaded water, although it had access to credit that the private sector didn't. But it reported its services sector perked up somewhat. In Australia, their coalition government's gamble on early elections appears to have backfired, with the results still too close to call and Conservatives struggling to secure enough seats in Parliament to form a government outright. They went to the polls to try and end a stalemate and have ended up with a tighter one. This won't materially affect New Zealand, except that it might put downward pressure on the Aussie currency, driving the cross rate higher for us. Uncertainty in Australia just rose another notch. This election is yet another where professionals and other insiders misread the electorate mood. Tony Abbott had won 25 extra seats in the two elections he led, while Malcolm Turnbull seems to have lost most of them. Abbott may be back. Sadly, back also is Pauline Hanson. The RBA does its monthly review of its benchmark interest rate again tomorrow. Before the election, most economists were of the view that their 1.75% rate would stay on hold. Who knows now? In New York, the benchmark US Treasury yield dipped and then recovered to finish at 1.45%. The credit risk premiums continue the retrenchment, including for Australasian investment-grade corporate debt. The world's largest pension fund, the Whale, made a loss of $43 billion in the June quarter after a shift to more equity investment. And the US benchmark oil price will start the week a little higher, now just over $49 a barrel, while the Brent benchmark is just over $50 a barrel. The gold price has jumped $29 to $1,344 an ounce. And the New Zealand dollar starts the week higher as well. It's 71.8 US cents, 95.7 Aussie cents and 64.4 Euro cents. The TWI is at 75.3. And watch out for the New Zealand-Australia cross rate today as a canary for their political cliffhanger. I'm David Chaston. And that was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.